Hi everyone, I'm Marika D'Souza, and I've been working on Core ERP Next for approximately the past 2.5 years. So I've been working on stock, manufacturing, and as well as, just a minute. Vrindas, is there any way you could not make me co-host because it keeps popping up, the waiting room notifications?
Sure, sure. Just give me a second.
Sure, sure.
Yes. Is it okay now?
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So as I was saying, I primarily worked on the stock and manufacturing module, and quite recently the e-commerce module. So today we're going to explore how, along with ERP Next, we can take your web shop and your business online with a lot of convenience. So, in the past approximately 2 years, we've noticed how powerful the internet is and what grasp it has over small and big businesses. From cosmetics to technology, you name it, there are booming web shops all over the world with great profit margins. So, what's fueling most of these web shops is accessibility and convenience for the users. So now, even if you don't directly deal with B2B, B2C sales, you are into the B2B business, it's still nice to have a good online presence. So this leaves a lasting impression on most of your leads and your customers. And I think it makes negotiations far more easier. So this is definitely faster than word of mouth. And you can reach people from all over the world. So these are few perks of investing in a web shop, and it's just a one-time effort thing, and it scales, it scales a lot. So that's what we're going to look at today. Along with e-commerce and Frappe, we are going to see how you can get your web shop online, and that too already using the data that's present in your ERP, nothing additional. So this is a complete end-to-end solution. You have your financial analysis, your inventory analysis, as well as you have an online presence. So it's a pretty sweet deal to me. So today what we're going to do is we're going to set up a furniture web shop. That's a furniture selling shop. I've created a site that's already deployed on Frappe Cloud. So you guys can probably just hit the link and check it out there. And before diving further into it, I will just give you a broad overview of what we're setting up. So we're setting up products, our cards, prices, etc. We're going to take a look at our landing page, which is more of a Frappe feature, and do some styling tweaks to our website. So before I jump furthermore, there are some schema changes that I'd like to discuss. One of the most important ones are a unified settings page. So the shopping cart settings and product settings earlier that were separate have been merged into e-commerce settings. So this is one page where you can do all your configurations. And I think we can take a look at this. So right here. So here is e-commerce settings. Most of the sections that were already there in the shopping cart settings and product settings have been shifted here, along with some additional features, which I'll get into later. But all these sections have been placed in terms of their importance. So you have your filters and categories, your display settings, your shopping cart, etc. Everything is set here. So if you use our old e-commerce store, the configurations are somewhat similar. This just makes it far more convenient and easier now. Apart from that, another major schema change would be website items. So earlier we had all our website related information in the item master itself. So you had your desk information and website information. That has been decoupled into a website item doc type. So in this doc type, all your website related information will be there. This is useful because not all of your users probably have something to do with the web shop portion of your business. And also this enables you to add more custom fields. There's more space in the item master and it makes it less bulky. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look into a simple flow of, how we publish an item, how an item full page view would look like, stuff like that. So now if I go back here, let me go to an item. Yeah. So of course, here the prerequisite would be that you already have items in your system. If you're a legacy user, the migrations are all handled. If you're new to this, what you can do right now is every time a new item is created or you want to publish an item, you can just go to items and click on publish in website. Just one click and a website item is created. So if I go here, I have a website item with all its name, its item code, item name, everything pulled in here, along with its image. And there's additional information about just about the website. We'll come to that. But this is basic item information that's here just for reference. So if we had to take a look at this on the site, we have a basic page set up here. So we can go and explore some more things. I can show you a website item that I've already set up. So right here. Yeah. So we have this website item deco armchair. All of these things have been pulled in from the item master. What we can control here is the website item name is essentially the title that the main title that is visible here. That is completely editable. It does not have to be exactly the same as it is in the item. So let's say I just add new to it. Right, change is visible right there. Along with this, for the images section, you can add a website image. So this is generally pulled in from the item master if you already had an image there, or you could clear this and add your own image. Along with this, the alternative that we had earlier too is a slideshow. So you can add a slideshow. This is basically a doc type in Frappe website slideshow. You can add as many images as you want to it. The slideshow will be given preference. So here, as you see, we've added the slideshow, which has this beautiful display of images. Of course, this can be changed. All of these things can be handled with data import easily too. Now, moving on to the stock information. Okay, I'll get to the stock and pricing a bit later. Now for the display information, you have your website description that can be added here. So whatever you see here is the website description. And this, of course, is a rich text editor field. So you can add colors to it, format it in different ways. Like here, I've added a heading, a larger heading. What you can also additionally do is you can add an image here, like a small icon or something of the sort. That could make the section look much prettier. So that's that. Now coming on to the website specifications. Most of the e-commerce big giants that you've seen have this table with all its specifications, its attributes such as what fabric it is, what material it is, size, etc. All of those things can be mentioned in website specifications, and those can be pulled onto your site automatically here. And of course, you can either manually add this, or you can add this at one time in your item group. So in my item group lounge chairs, right? I've enabled show in website, and I've added these website specifications here. So if I go back to my website item, I can just pull this with a button click from the item group. That's about it. Or of course, these can be imported again. And additionally, let's say, yeah. So if I disable section with tabs, just going to come to that for additional information, I just have my product details that I set here, the table. Let's say I want a tab section, that is, I want more information in a consolidated way. I can enable section with tabs, and here I can add as many tabs as possible. So the first tab by default will be your website specifications if you have them. And following that, all the tabs that you've added here. So these tabs could just be any HTML, or if not HTML, you could just add a paragraph or whatever it is. So if I save this and I refresh this, I have a tab section here. And now in my return policy, everything is here. I've added some very basic HTML here just to, add a background to this div. But yeah, you can customize this and make this your own. Along with that, I'll come to offers. So right now, offers, the implementation for offers is a little bit naive, but these offers are basically just display offers for now. So you want your users to know what offers are available in your system for display. So you can add offers to display here. I've added a 10% off offer. So you can add a title, you can add a subtitle, and you can add more offer details. So what this looks like here is available offers, or you can stack many offers one below the other. And the more section basically expands and shows users what offers are there. And coming to the section below that, that is the advanced display content. Here again, you can add custom HTML. So this is more of a branding driven feature. You can add this HTML probably relating to your brand or relating to the category that this item is in. And this just looks attractive and is more of, helps marketing your product even more. So that's that for basic setting up of all of these things. So now what we can move on to is the most important parts, right? How do you set up inventory and how do you set up pricing? These are pretty simple. These are just basic ERP next things. So for pricing, right, you'd create a general item price. I could show you through that. So if I'm looking at right here. So there is this price list that we had added in e-commerce settings. So I'm using the same price list to create item prices since I don't want to mix my internal transaction prices and my web shop prices. So I've created a price list called web shop prices, and I have the rate set as 3,500 for selling. So given that an item price is created, the price will be visible here. And how do we add discounts on it? It's simple, pricing rule. So right here in pricing rule, right? This is a 15% off, yeah. So I've added a brand-based pricing rule here, given that this item is from the brand IKEA. I've added a 15% off for all items that are of the brand IKEA. And of course, I think you can go in deeper into this and read the documentation on how pricing rule works, but it's really extensive. So what we've added here is pricing and discount. Stocking is again pretty simple. So if I go back to the website item, stocking is just how basic ERP Next works. You can create a purchase receipt or a stock entry of material receipt and get the stock inside. So here for that, you would have to mention the website warehouse, what warehouse you want to consider to check whether the stock exists or not. So here I have finished goods and I've already added some purchase receipts and stocked up my item. So I already have this in stock here. Of course, if you wish to show that how much stock is available, you can do that too. So in e-commerce settings itself, you can show stock availability. So right now the in stock that is visible is because of stock availability. Additionally, you can show stock quantity too. So if I save this, yeah, it'll show you how much quantity is in stock. So that's completely up to you. So for this use case, I'd want to keep it off. So I'll leave it there. Right here. So now that this is done, so we've taken a look at the product web page, somehow how to set it up. We've set up inventory and pricing. Now let us take a look at the product listing. So the product listing is the all products page. So we can take a look at that now. Right here. How does this work now? Basically just on website items. If you have website items that are published, it will be visible in the all products page. So if I go to website item, right? I recently made this item light blue stylish rest chair. Let's see where this is now. It's all the way at the bottom. Fine. What I can do is I want to bring this further up in the listing. I can control that using website item too. So right here, I can make the ranking, let's say 10. Right here, it's at the top here and it's visible. So appearance of products is pretty simple and understood, I would assume. You can also unpublish items. That is, you can keep the item in the website item, but let's say due to some issues, a product recall or something like that, you don't want this visible on your web shop again, you can uncheck published and save it. It won't be visible on your web shop anymore. So now let's move on to how we set up filters. This again, one consolidated place. I just go to e-commerce settings to the filters and categories section. And here in the field filters, I've added item group and brand. So now these filters or these fields have to be visible in the website item doc type. That's where it's going to filter from. That's where it's going to get the values from. So given that I've added these, I have my item group and my brand visible. Now you'd wonder, okay, but where did the discount filters come from? That's not a configuration, it's completely automated. So given that you have discounts available on your site that you've set item prices and pricing rules for, discount filters will be auto-computed and will be visible. So let's say I want to check things that are only 10% and below. So I have 5% off only visible here. And yeah, I have 5 and 15% off visible here. That's about it. And if I clear this, yeah, we're back to it. So that's the basic listing page. And we've also added an additional feature here where you can toggle between listings. So this is the list view. We have already taken a look at the grid view. Now, these descriptions in the list view also come from a website item. So here, right above website description, we've added a short website description. So here you can add 1 to 2 lines, something that you want people to see from the listing itself. Nothing too hard to read, not too much cognitive load. So right here, I've added here, right, this Art Deco inspired piece is exceptionally comfortable. And that's what is visible here. So the same things, this is just, this format is probably just better if there's a more amount of information. Of course, this description will not be visible on the card view because that's not what grid views are for. So right here, this is completely up to your user now if they want to use the grid view or the list view. And of course, if I filter this by dining chairs, right, or lounge chairs, I have 2 lounge chairs available here. So yeah, the filters work just as you'd expect them to work. Lounge chairs that are IKEA, both of these. Great. All right. So now that we've set up the product listing, let's go to some more goodies. That's add-ons. So add-ons are now additional features that we've added, and these are completely optional. So they're good to have features, but they're not really sort of essential to a web shop. You can run your web shop without them, but who doesn't want these features these days? So I think the first most popular feature we can look at is wish list. So you can enable or disable wish list. This is completely optional. And what its impact is right here. On the card view, as well as on the list view, you'll have your wish list icon available. So let me just add something to the wish list right now. Yeah. So if I go to the wish list, I'll see that these items are already added. And yeah, from the wish list, you can throw them out or move them to your cart. So these are out of stock right now. Let me add an item that is in stock to the wish list. So right here. So I go to my wish list. Yeah, this item is in stock. So I can either remove it or I can move it to cart. So yeah, that completely right here. So that's got moved to cart. And that's just basically how a wish list would work. And that's an overview of it. Additionally, now we can go on to reviews and ratings. Now this again is quite a simple feature that you must have seen in most of these products, but let's take a look at it here. So I go to the product that we were looking at earlier, that's this armchair. And if you enable reviews and ratings, you will see the section available here. And essentially, all of the people that visit your site will be able to see reviews and ratings, but not everyone will be able to write a review. To write a review, you have to be a customer in the system. Now, this is done because we don't want fake reviews or just spam filling into your review section. And of course, you can moderate that too. So I'll just leave a review here right now. I'll say it's a great product. Again, this is completely out of the box and automated, and all it took was just 1 click. That's about it. We can I hope I'm audible. Has the
अपना आ गया क्या उसका?
I'm audible or not?
Hello.
Audible.
Yes, Marika. Hello.
Yes. So Marika, we lost you asking for last 30 seconds or so. Are you there? We can see your screen moving.
You can see my screen. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can.
Yes.
We can hear you. Yeah, you're back now. I think.
All right. I think I lost my connection in the middle. Yeah, right. My bad. Oh, yeah. So continuing on, we have recommendations also enabled here. This again is a sort of a first draft implementation of recommendations that we want to take further and make it much more smarter. But right now I can just show this to you. So you can set up recommendations in the website item itself. So let's go to this armchair that we were talking about earlier, right? Right here, you have the recommended item section. So all you have to do is here, you can select a website item that's quite similar to this chair. So I'm going to select yet another chair. Let's say the light blue chair that we added earlier. And its extra information will just be here for reference. So if we go to this armchair right now, we've enabled recommendations. So you'll get a section here with the recommended items. So of course, you can add more items underneath them. In the future, we hope to make this smarter. Probably it could pick up items that are more relevant or more popular in the same category. But for now, this feature, this implementation is available. And yeah, this is pretty useful if you're trying to sell people companion items, such as with a cycle, they'd probably want to buy a helmet. So you'd want to make, hint at them that, hey, take a look at this helmet. So that's again a good, it's a good deal. Right. So now that we've explored add-ons and some additional features, navigation also was a bit of a problem. Probably there wasn't too much noise about it, but what we discovered was we had this all product section, and essentially there's a lot of items there. You could say there's a dump of items there, and that becomes a bit overwhelming for users to navigate. So you could either set up custom item group pages, or you could have a page that showcases all the categories that are available on your site, and users could just go clicking and just go to the relevant categories essentially. So we have this out of the box too. So I can show you that. First, we can take a look at item groups and what impact they have on e-commerce. So if I go to the item group tree, right? So there are some main item groups that are set up from my web shop. That's beds, carpet and flooring, lighting, seating, storage, tables. These are main item groups that serve a furniture shop. From these, let's go to seating and take a look at this. So I've added an image to this, and I have shown this in website. I think I showed you the website specifications earlier. I've added some filters. But essentially now this item group, given that it is shown in website, it's going to have its own dedicated page, and we're going to take a look at that. So if I had to take a look at the seating page here, so I have items that come under seating, and also what is visible here is subgroups of seating. So what we saw earlier, seating was a group node which has dining chairs and lounge chairs. So right here, you can see lounge chairs and dining chairs. So if I click on lounge chairs, I'll only be able to see lounge chairs. And of course, so the breadcrumbs here are completely dynamic. So that also. And how we can have multiple items visible. So there are use cases, right? So clearly this item here belongs to the category lounge chairs. But let's say I want it to be visible on multiple item group pages. This can be done using website item groups. So if I go here to the same item that we were looking at earlier, and I go to search on this here, right here, you can mention which other item groups you want this item to be visible in, other than its own item group, of course, in the lounge chairs page. But now it will also be visible in the seating page. So right here on the seating page, I have this visible. And if I click on lounge chairs, also this is visible. So this is how you can control this. You can add many more things to it. And of course, you can configure your filters from the item group doc type itself. And now that the item group pages are set up and we have good nesting available here, so we can go further down the trees. How else can we link it outside? We could have a categories page. I think that would be pretty useful, which is what we have. So we have a shop by category page that comes out of the box. There's nothing to set up, there's nothing to enable here. All it will do is, I will show that to you in e-commerce settings. It will reuse your filters and categories section. So essentially all the field filters that you use will also be pulled into the shop by category page. And so the item group and brand filters that we used here in the table, they're pulled out right here. So we have item group and brand, and all the item groups that have show and website enabled are pulled here. Now, these are sort of first level item groups, that is item groups that are directly children of all item groups. So I think I showed you the tree earlier. This is just that. So we have seating, storage, tables, etc. Here I click on seating, takes me to the seating page. And for brand, right? The fact that we're reusing the filters here means that we can go to a filtered page, right? So for these brands, that's exactly what we're doing. If you click on IKEA here, it's going to take you to the all products section with a filtered page. So this will only show you products that belong to IKEA. So similarly, let's say you have another link field called manufacturer. You could add that here, and that could be an additional tab too. But again, these fields need to be a part of the website item doc type, and they need to be link fields or table multi-select fields. Those are visible here. So that's about it about the categories page. So this could make navigation much easier. And of course, if you want, you could build your custom categories page and hit our APIs and just reuse it. But this is something very basic we give out of the box. So now we're going to move on to the cart and what's changed in the cart and how different it is now. So let's take a look at that. Let's go to our products page where we were earlier. So we added 2 items to the cart. So if you go to the cart now, the cart has a new look and feel. So we have the ability to completely remove an item from cart. So earlier how it was, you'd have to either make the quantity 0. That's how you could just remove an item. Here I can just one click and the item is gone. The totals, everything are updated. And yeah, it has a UI refresh. Along with this, I can show you something else too. Let me go to my products page again. Let's say I want to add this rug to my cart. And this is a product that I've already set up a pricing rule for, a product pricing rule for. So it has a 1+1 free. So I clicked on add to cart and this has been added to cart. So if I go back to my cart and I refresh it, I have this new product added, 1 quantity 850. And as I told you, I had a pricing rule on it that's 1+1 free. So I have my free item here too. So essentially, if you remove this item, the free item goes too, given that you don't want the item at all. There's a free indicator here. And yeah, you can just change the quantities as usual. And now all that's left to do is, I mean, you can add new addresses also. You can add a billing and a shipping address. You just have to click on add new address here. And all that's left to do is to place the order. So for cart, I'll just take you through e-commerce settings again. So for cart, for enabling the shopping cart, you'd have to have your company set, your price list set, some default customer group. And here the shopping cart is enabled. We can even add things to cart. Additionally to that, now in your cart, it could be a B2B cart or a B2C cart. For B2B carts that have negotiations, etc. required, you probably don't want users to be checking out directly. You want to have a request for quotation generated and then you want to negotiate, and that process is slightly different. So you can just disable checkout in that case. Your payment gateway, etc. will not be required for that. So let's say I disable checkout. Let me disable this too, and I'll just run you through it. So my checkout is disabled and all I have here is request for quote. And if you want prices visible here while it's in the B2B mode, that again is a setting here. So if I go to checkout settings, I show price and quotation. You have your prices visible here too, and then you can request for your quotation. But for the sake of this demo, I'm going to go into the checkout mode. So this is a B2C use case. And right here, I have a payment gateway account set up. I have a success URL with the that redirects to the orders. So let's see this. Right here, I have a place order button, and I'm just essentially going to place the order. So this generates a sales order with all my items and everything visible here. And now I can directly go to pay. Now for this like I said earlier, I already have a payment gateway. I have a dummy payment gateway account set up here, so we can just take a look at that. I won't actually be going through with the payment, but yeah, this is just a dummy account. So of course, this can go to the payment gateway of your choice. I think Frappe framework supports quite a few payment gateways. You can connect those, and from here, it's the payment gateway stuff. Of course, if things, you can go back or cancel the payment. Yes, it failed. Fine. I can just go back to my products page. I can go home. Right. So we took a look at the cart. So now I think we've sort of experienced and explored most features in e-commerce, all the essential features, the new things. So let's try and sprinkle some personality on the site. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out how Page Builder enabled us to, how Frappe's website module rather enabled us to, make the site look so pretty. So I'm going to go to the home page first. So this is something I built just using Frappe's Page Builder. So we can take a look at that right now. Oops, did I log out? So I'm just going to go to my desk. Just a minute. I got logged out of my site for some reason. But yeah, essentially, I think Faris had taken everyone through the page builder briefly. So right here. Yeah, we're up. So I'm going to show you the web page that I created. So I created this web page called Frappe Furniture World, and I made this my homepage in our portal settings. So I won't go over that, but I'll just take you over the web page now. So these are just basic sections, and these are already templates that are available within Frappe. So I created a hero with right image. You can just check here. I added a title, I added a subtitle, and I've added a hero image to it and a primary action to it. So this is what it looks like. I have my shop now button, which if you can see the URL below, it goes to the all products page. And this is an image that I've custom created and added. Along with this, we have this item card group here. This again is just a template that's already available inside Frappe, so you can just add item cards. So I won't go over that more. So I've added 3 sections like that. And of course, so you can customize all of these also, all of these sections. You can add more sections if you want. How you do that is you'd create a web template. So we have a doc type called web template. You can just go here. You can add a name, you can add a section, what kind of section it is. You can add custom HTML over here. You can add context to it. I think Faris probably briefed everyone about that. But this is essentially what I've done. Now, apart from this, let's try to change the background color a little bit. And how I do that is through our website settings. So right here, I've created a new theme also. So in this theme is all the CSS magic, all the custom overrides, everything. So I've added a primary color, which is dark green. So you'd see, all the buttons, all the primary buttons are now dark green instead of the standard blue that it was earlier. Let's say I want to change the background color too. I've created a color light beige, so I'll add that. And along with that, I want my products page to also show this color. So I've added some custom, I've just overridden one of the CSS variables, so you can check this out now. So we have a beige background. My bad. And if I go to the products page again, this is a beige background. So this is just so simple to override styles and create your own styles as well. Along with this, even for the nav bar, right? I hope my custom CSS is visible here. I've just overridden some, background colors and fonts for the nav bar. So, when I hover over this, it's golden yellow of some sort. And I've added a bottom border also to the nav bar. All of this is just custom CSS. And what you can additionally do is You can do things like removing borders over the cards. Now that gives a completely different look and feel to your site. So if I could just change that right here. This thing has been compiled. So if I go to my all products page now, you'll see that the border radius is completely gone and these have sharp corners now. So yeah, that's something you can easily do. Another thing, I think that I could run you through the e-commerce settings. Yeah, because I logged out. Yeah, right here. We have these guest display settings here too, which is quite new. So here you can decide for a guest user or for a user that is not logged in yet, do you want to show them a price or not, or should they only log in and see the price? Also, redirect on action is something that tells the system where to redirect the guest user on certain actions they perform, such as add to cart and wish list. Those are two of the main actions on your e-commerce site. So right now we would require customers to be logged in while using e-commerce, since we have to create customers, quotations, etc. But we're exploring new flows and trying to make this more flexible in the future as well. Yeah. So of course, this is not the destination. This is sort of we've kickstarted a new module, and we're trying to incrementally improve things. So some of the things that we have here is the variant config refactor. So the variant configuration, that selection of variants on a template item on the website, is quite the same right now. We want to refactor that a bit and give that more importance. Of course, that's a bit of a heavy feature. And as I said earlier, guest user interactions. So if a user has not logged in, we want them to be able to add things to the cart and add things to the wish list and only have to register, login, whatever it is while checking out. I understand that can be that can add too much friction to users' interaction right now. So that's again in the roadmap. We also want to add better UX for coupon codes and offers. So, and a pop-up for offers that, shows enable disable offers or disabled enable coupon codes, just like many other sites have. We want something like that, a more general feature for everybody. And of course, the product listing could definitely be better. We want to add some product sorting to it. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, I definitely want feedback from everybody, given that it's quite a new feature. So yeah, I think I can stop sharing now.
Thanks. Great demonstration, Marika. We
So-
already have a couple of questions in the chat.
Sure. Visit index, product bundles. Right here, where do I start from? Payment on delivery would be very useful. Okay, I'm going to try and read some questions here. Can we have product bundles in e-commerce? That's something I think we could add that in the future. It's not quite added to the roadmap, but yeah, sure, definitely. Given that we support product bundles in our selling cycle right now completely. But yeah, that would be a good feature. So sure, I can add it to the roadmap. And also try to make a roadmap public going ahead, because I know a lot of people are kept in the dark for the development so far. But yeah, since it was the first draft, yeah, I didn't want to. How multiple location cost center can be handled in e-commerce site? I mean, selling from a different warehouse. Selling from a different warehouse in the sense, currently, as I said, your stock that is going out of the warehouse, right? There's technically only one warehouse you can sell from right now. We don't have multiple warehouse functionality available. So in your website item itself, you can just add the warehouse that's available. But we could explore that in the future. But right now, unfortunately, no. We would expect users right now to have this one e-commerce or web shop warehouse where all the items are sort of consolidated and things go out from there. And of course, the warehouses can vary from item to item, so that's done. How does the product search work? Right, Dhananjay, I think I did not touch up on that. So currently it's there we have Redis search and have our DB search. So Redis search is a Redis thing. It's experimental right now, but you can install Redis search. It's really fast. With Redis search you have a configurable search, so you can sort of configure the indexes. that's a bit of in the beta version right now, which is why I did not touch up on it. But we want to polish that further, but it's still available. I think I've covered that in the e-commerce documentation as well. So you can go and check it out there. There is an article also on how to install Redis search and everything. But of course, if Redis search is not installed, we already checked. And if it's not installed, we fall back to the normal DB search right now, which also is decent for, I think, a small size of products. But Redis search would be really fast if you have like 1 million items or something like that. Is it indexed? So Dhananjay, right now, I think optimizations are a bit of something that I kept for after the first draft. So no, we'd have to do that right after this. But yeah, performance and optimizations are something I'm going to cover probably in the next month. Yeah, because we had to push the first draft out. Yeah. Is there an option to add an in-stock / out-of-stock filter on the product pages? So no, Danny, I'm sorry, not as of now. We don't have that option. But yeah, I could take suggestions from, you guys can open GitHub issues as feature requests, and we can definitely add that as a roadmap. Can we use any readily available themes like Bootstrap themes? So I think all of this gets covered in Frappé's website module. But of course, given e-commerce and some custom styles that it has in ERP Next, you might have to override certain things. So that will have to be tinkered with a bit. But for your usual website, I think you can use Bootstrap themes. But yeah, for e-commerce, you might have to customize and override certain CSS classes that might have to be looked into. Item descriptions template once pulled into an item, is that editable for a particular item? So Liaquat, I think right now what we do is we pull in the item descriptions from the item master, but the website descriptions that are there, we have the website description field too, right? So we give preference to the website description field. If there is no website description or customized description available, then we fall back to the item description. So if you want that to be editable, you can just edit the website description, I think. That doesn't have anything to do with the item master. Yeah, Jairam, it is pretty easy. It's quite a lot of configuration, and just that if you have your data ready, you can get your site up exactly. How many hours went into creating the shop site scene? So I think data creation, given that I had hardly any 10 items, was not too much. Customizations, if you know exactly what you want to do, and just overriding CSS classes, that could happen in an hour or so. But of course, if you're still conceptualizing the web shop, it may take some more time. All right, curious. Can we add iframes so that we can add custom libs on the item page to integrate 3D CAD onto item pages? Dhananjay, I think yes, that's possible. So in the tabbed sections that I was showing you, where you have your product specifications and the return section, etc., that completely supports HTML. So I think you can embed whatever you want there, videos, or I think 3D CAD images, etc. If a web page supports it, it supports it. From YouTube, can I integrate third-party e-commerce, third-party shipping into the e-commerce? So all shipping integrations is something that is more to do with the backend or with the e-commerce, with ERP Next transactions, sorry. So you can integrate third-party shipping into ERP Next. E-commerce is sort of like a beautiful front for lots of things that are happening under the hood. So essentially in the backend, your transactions, quotations, all of those things will be generated, like sales order, sales invoices. So if your shipping integration can work on standard desk transactions, it can work with e-commerce. So I don't think that's anything to do with the front facing as far as I know.
Marika, you can take 1 or 2 more questions, and
Sure.
the remaining we can take up during the Q&A session that is scheduled.
Sure. Can we add quantity and pin code restrictions? So for quantity restrictions, you could probably add a custom script. So quantity restrictions, essentially, you'd want to add a validation in the quotation itself, because your cart is essentially a quotation created in the backend. So you could add some validations via server script to it to make sure that someone's not adding too much of an item. And yeah, I think that should be good enough. Pin code restrictions also. Yeah, I think this can be customized. Again, customization on quotation is your answer. iframe was disabled for security reasons in the past. All right, Dhananjay, I was not aware of that. I'd probably have to try it out myself. But yeah, I'm not sure about that, honestly. Might be off topic. Yeah, I think 1 to 2 questions are done.
Yeah, we can take up later
Yeah.
Q&A sessions, definitely.
So yeah, you guys can ask questions in the discuss forum, maybe on the Telegram chat as well.
The participants can unmute and ask away questions in the upcoming Q&A session.
Q&A.
Thank you
Alright.
so much.
Thanks, everyone.